This is the Draft Season Podcast, and we are back. We are back with some more draft breakdowns. This time, we are hitting into our second Jalen, and that is Jalen Green of the G League Ignite. I'm here, as always, with my guy, Sean 5K. What are some of his best traits that kind of stand out to you just watching him as an athlete?
Ridiculous athlete. Let's just start there. I don't think you see guys with that level of like he's a rare breed of bounce that comes into the league because we're talking about functional bounce. But is it functional? Is it functional athleticism? Is it stuff that actually is valuable on an NBA court? And when we talk about Jalen Green, he puts his athleticism to the use. So I mean, we could just start here. Like that play we just saw in front of you is a great example of this is body control. He's definitely a contortionist, and that's one of the first things that really stands out to you if you watch any Jalen Green film. For a kid who is still physically developing, somebody who still needs to add, he's probably still always going to be on the skinnier side. So he's somebody who still needs to develop that physical maturation. So he still at times can be avoidant of rim protection. He aids that by being able to hang in the air longer than I think even a normal NBA athlete might on his jump. So I think that's a special trait that it's going to give him leeway that other skinnier guys in his frame might not be able to actually have. Also that left, that extension, and that bounce, he's able to jump off 1 or 2 foot and get pretty good extension. 61% on 95 rim attempts over the G League bubble, and that's pretty damn good for somebody who is going to be looked at as a the upside on Jalen Green as a high volume scorer. That type of scoring ability is definitely something that if he's able to consistently do that at the next level as he grows, and as that strength, that's definitely one of those boxes that I think it's a part of the tool set that can help you find or help him hit that next level. But what about for you, Raz? What really stood out to you for Jalen?
So let me kind of just dig in right here, just from like an athleticism standpoint. I know scouts and everyone always talks about that explosive and that quick first step, right? Jalen Green has probably the quickest second step I've ever seen. And that's saying a lot. And it's because he's that explosive. His first step is great, but it's the second step to accelerate and get away and create the space from the defender is something that's going to make him very successful in the NBA if barring he stays healthy. Because once that first step is by and that second step is where he creates all the space going downhill, or even if he's getting into his shot, the step away, the escape step to get the space that he needs is just something that's very special. And like here, like we just saw him try to end someone's life on a dunk. Like he's a freak of nature, athletically. I think he draws fouls at a great rate. I think that's something that you got to take into consideration. A lot of guards go downhill, but a lot of that contact that they get does not, result in them at the free throw line. Jalen Green is going to be somebody that's going to be able to get to the free throw line and convert at a pretty high clip.
Staying with his scoring prowess for a second, because you have guys who need the ball to be able to get where they want to get the ball or get to where they want to go to. But, I was impressed by his overall scoring instincts, even when the ball isn't in his hand. So, his ability to find creases, in off-ball scenarios, I do think that aids him in, what or finding that upside at the next level. His pre-shot mechanics and the balance that he has on his shots. He shoots a pretty balanced jump shot. I think he rises up into his shot without much wasted motion as a pull-up shooter, and that's both in shooting off motion and shooting in catch and shoot scenarios. So I do think it's a pretty translatable skill for him. For you at least, Raz, what would you say is your biggest concern for Jalen at the next level?
Handle for me. I think just taking care of the ball. He has to tighten up his handle, make better decisions as a playmaker. As he gets to the next level, the defenders will be better. Um, and his ability, right now to score comes a lot from his athleticism, like you said. And I think to become a professional scorer in the NBA, you have to have a bag. And sometimes athleticism is not going to be enough with some of these rim protectors and some of these wing defenders that the NBA does have to offer. So I think tightening up his handle to be able to be precise in getting to his spots and keeping the ball secure and just making better decisions as a passer will kind of help his ceiling.
41% from three on his G League Unite season, and that's a pretty impressive clip for him to hit. But when you have people compare him, and if you talk about the most important skills, he has a lot of what you're looking for in those prospects that are can't miss. So I think when others might throw him, I think in a weaker year, he might have had a stronger argument for that number one pick. But for you, Raz, what do you really see, for him if we look back at this draft in a couple years and we say Jalen Green ended up as the number one prospect in this class, what do you really see as those skills that swung the pendulum to his side as a prospect?
For me, it's going to be defense, being able to defend at any position on the perimeter with that athleticism. Becoming a super plus defender is going to be something that will take him from being like, damn, was he worth the top 5 pick? Or like, yeah, nah, he's solidified as one of the top players in this draft class. And, maybe at this point, looking at perennial all-starship if he's able to just become a super plus defender.
Even going back to the handle, because it's interesting to see, like, if he does hit his like tier 100 upside and he's clicking on all cylinders, he also, it's a combination of the handle improves and his reads out of pick and roll also does prove. He's flashed, some basic reads out of pick and roll, but a lot of times, Raz, like you did mention, the high dribble, a lot of times it would force him to pick up. It would actually pick up his dribble when faced with tight ball pressure, and that usually leads to a hasty decision or a pass, a pass leaving his hands before the actual opportunity was created. So I do think he normally advanced stuff out of pick and roll. So you really want to see him hitting a lot of skip passes, or even you want to see him get a lot more comfortable with pocket passes and things of that nature, that you want to see from just your basic lead initiators. But his upside does leave him inside of a pretty, it leaves him between two different archetypes of high volume guy who's making decisions, or just somebody who is better set as just instant offense, owing to the defense. Because I do think it's another thing, I think his frame holds up more as somebody who you would think would be able to guard a lot of the point of attack guards, but that's just something that's going to take an additional discipline level for him. That it's not an imminent improvement for Jalen Green as far as a point of attack defender, but I do think there are scenarios to where you could get to an average defender, to where if you're an average defender and somebody who can explode for 20, 25 a night, it's still a you're looking at a $20 million player at minimum. If he's able to shoot at the capabilities that, and what is that? I think I said it's 37% on his 3-point shooting last season. So yeah, that's still a juicy actual archetype for somebody at the next level. But yeah, I think even his technique on defense is something that fighting through screens. That's something that would actually help him get to that next level. About fit for Jalen. What type of fit do you see for him at the next level, though, Raz? Like, what do you think would best optimize him as a rookie and as he gets closer to a finished product?
I mean, a free flowing offense with a lead guard who gets. I mean, I feel like we're gonna say that about a lot of prospects, but he needs a lead guard that's gonna get him the ball where he needs it, not to overthink anything, and just a free flowing offense that doesn't doesn't really put too much pressure on him to go out and create right off the bat. I think he needs to be someone who's catching the ball, quick decision, basket. Like it's going to be one of those situations. And in terms of defense, I mean he's already a freak athletically. Defensively, I'm not worried about him in any kind of defensive sets. I think he's going to be fine being able to switch in the switch heavy NBA defenses that are out there. But I mean, he's going to need to go to a team that is going to be able to get him the ball where he needs it in his spots. Probably put a little shooting around him, and a big man that crashes.
Jalen Green deserves a lot of credit for, one, betting on himself, and two, coming out on the other side, be better and more polished player than what he showed. But just talking about what he's done at the lower levels, he's been a blue chip prospect for some time now. And even what he's done both in high school and playing internationally with Team USA has really shown just how bright this star could shine, if we just project some development going forward. As the youngest member of the 2018 USA Under-17 World Cup team, he led USA in scoring off the bench and was named tournament MVP. Like I said, despite coming off the bench. As a senior at Prolific Prep in California, he averaged 32 points, 7.5 rebounds, and 5 assists during his senior season. In transition settings, Green is by far one of the most aesthetically pleasing athletes to come into the league in some time. Even, in a very deep class of wing players, he's in a tier by himself when it comes to just what he's able to do athletically. Speed allows him to really leak out in transition for easy buckets. And what's obvious after watching him play for a couple minutes is the nucleus of his upside stems from just how defenses will have to guard him at the next level due to his gravity as a pull-up shooter and his ability to get downhill at will. Whoever's guarding him on ball has to respect the fact that he can get to that his first step is so explosive he could get to the rim at ease, meaning he's going to have to be on his feet and expecting him to blow by him. Two-man game of defenders and weak side defenders is going to have to be in succinct synergy to make sure that you're guarding Jalen Green. So when we get to the fact that he isn't an advanced passer yet, this actually gives him a lot of wiggle room because of just how defenses will have to react to what he's doing. And it makes the read that he'll have to make out of these situations much easier than other guys who don't possess the same first step. His long strides to the basket and his advanced footwork also make this a profile that just looks a budding star, and also the ability to become one of the best isolation scorers in the league. Defense is definitely an area where you want to see, flashes compared to just consistent brilliance on that end. But, we shouldn't, in regarding these aspects, at least that we could say is Green, when engaged on ball, does seem to have potential as a point of attack defender or somebody who can also move his feet and guard guys on the perimeter.
The potential as a 3-level scorer is definitely what, it puts him in the elite upside group of this class, because if, like I said, for somebody who it does seem like we mentioned earlier, like he does shy away from contact when he gets to the rim a little bit, but the fact that he still shot 61%, and it could be a ultimate caveat, as these years go on more, and I think we can see more about how how do these elite high school guys play on this level. Well, and there's not necessarily a lot of great rim protection, I would say, that was in the G League bubble. So, it's going to be a huge, area to watch for Jalen at the next level. But this is somebody who has upside out of this world. So, yeah, what do you see as Jalen Green's ultimate upside in the NBA? Definitely leave a comment below. And make sure you're banging that subscribe button below. So, Draft Season Boys out of here.